Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Ron here again, and in this video I want to show you guys how I find massive amount of different dropshipper sellers and how I differentiate the rest of the sellers from the dropshippers that we are interested in finding. So with that being said, I'm just going to share my screen and let's begin. For the sake of simplicity, I want to make sure that all the dropshippers that I'm using are only from AliExpress and China. So I'm just going to go to my settings really quick and make sure that all my source products are from AliExpress and my item location is from China. Great. So now with these settings, I'm going to go to the random dropshippers, and then PowerDrop will automatically give me a list of 50 random dropshippers that meet my settings criteria. So it is safe to assume that most, if not all, these sellers are selling directly from AliExpress and shipping from China. So I already have a list of 50 sellers, which is an awesome start. All I really have to do now is kind of go one by one and see what I can play with. So I'm going to click this seller lookup. So in this specific seller, I see that a lot of his products are Vera products. So I don't want to look further into it because most of the sellers that I'm going to find here are probably a Vera product sellers. And that is something that I personally want to stay away from. So I'm just going to go back and go to the next one. And then again, I see that a lot of the products are Vero and I don't like that. So I'm going to move forward. Again, okay. So I'm just gonna move to the next one, Annie movie. Let's see if you have something good for us. So I'm just gonna quickly see that these products are not Vero and that there are some competitors, which is great. So I'm just gonna go to this button, the seller competitors. So I see that this seller has 168 other competitors, and this basically means that 168 other sellers are selling the same products or very, very similar products that this seller is selling as well. And I also see that 74.4% of these total competitors are indeed drop shippers. Now, while 74% is a pretty high number, I want to make sure that I look up only drop shippers, and the easiest way to do that is by adding a filter. So I'm going to click on this button right here to add a filter, and I can see that there's already pre-calculated filter of only drop shippers. So I'm going to click this filter right here. And because we are only focusing on AliExpress and shipping from China, I also want to add another filter, which takes away all other countries that are not China. So the easiest way to do that is add a filter of the shipping from country. And I'm going to click the is, and I'm going to write China. And I'm also going to add Hong Kong since it's pretty much the same thing. Now you can see that all other sellers that are not selling from China are going to be filtered out. So only the relevant sellers that I'm looking for are going to stay in. I just want to add one more filter in regard to feedback. I want to filter out all the sellers that have more than 10,000 feedbacks, just so I know that my chances of winning those products are higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a filter and it's going to be the seller feedbacks. And I'm going to make sure that it's less than, and let's do 10,000. And then all I really have to do now is select all of them. And then I can see that out of the total of 168, with these filters below, we see that 104 has been selected. So all I need to do now is scan the sellers. And then we're going to have a bulk scan of 100 people out of the 104 people. Please note that every bulk scanner can take up to 100, but I will show you right now how we just repeat the process over and over and over again. And that's how you guys get to a massive amount of different sellers. So I'm just going to name this scan as drop shipping from AliExpress number 1. Let me just copy this so I can copy and paste it later. And then I want to make sure that the listing location is from China. And one more thing is I want to make sure that it doesn't scan products that haven't been sold at least like 3 times this month. So when this is all done, I'm just going to start scan. And then I will let PowerDrop do his own thing while I continue with the search. The easiest way to continue this process is just go to the next seller and go over here to the seller lookup. And then again, I'm going to quickly scan, and I see that this seller indeed has a lot of Vero. So I'm going to stay away from this seller. Let's go to the next one. And then I'm just quickly going to make sure that this is okay. Okay. And go to the seller's competitors. And the cool thing about the filter is that it automatically saves for me there. So I don't have to repeat the filtering process again. And this is going to save me a lot of time and increase my efficiency in finding the relevant sellers that I'm looking for. So out of the 1,944 sellers, I'm going to select, and we can see that with these filters, we have found 838 different sellers. So all we're going to do is scan the sellers again. And this is something I want to touch on. Do you see this number of 475 sellers? This just shows us that PowerDrop will automatically take away sellers that we already been scanning in the past. So only new sellers are being scanned. So I'm just going to copy the scan and I'm going to change it to number 2. And again, I don't want any products that haven't been sold at least 3 times this month. Make sure that it's from China. And boom. Let's do this process one more time. Let's find this seller, for example. I'm gonna make sure this is pretty good. Okay, great. Now I'm gonna go to the seller's competitors. And as you guys can see, the filtering is still here. So I'm just gonna select them all and I'm gonna do scan seller. And then again, we can see that 280 sellers are being filtered out because they have been scanned in the past. So only new sellers are being scanned again. So I'm gonna change this to number 3. And I'm gonna make sure that it's from China and sold range 3 times and then start scanning. One another cool filter that I like doing is having a specific seller country, for example, like from Israel. So I want to make sure that I find sellers that are only selling from Israel. And I can easily do that by adding a filter and say the seller country and then is from Israel. You can do Israel, you can do Morocco, you can do whatever country you want. And then we're going to apply this. And then we're going to select it all. And then we can see out of the 1,345, now only 231 are selected with these following filters. So let's scan this sellers. And then we can say dropshipping from AliExpress, Israel only. And then we're going to copy this for later. And again, same thing is true about listing location China and 3, and we're gonna start scan. Now I can just repeat the same process, but with an emphasis to Israeli sellers only. So let's take this seller, for example. And then I'm just gonna quickly scan this. Okay, this is great. Let's go over here. And then I see that the same filters are still applied. So I'm going to select it all. I'm going to scan sellers. And then 281 seller already been scanned. So PowerDrop automatically filters it out and only brand new sellers are going to be scanned for me. I'm going to make sure that the China is here and the sold range is 3. And I'm going to start scanning. And then I'm going to repeat this process over and over and over again until we find a massive amount of different drop shippers. Now, I want to go to the bulk scanners to see what's going on there. And then I can see that all of the scans that we just made are right here, and we can see the status of the scans. And once the bulk scanning is completed, we're gonna see this button right here. It's gonna say view scan, and then we can just click on it right here, and then it's gonna pop us to a brand new screen, which is very similar to the seller lookup screen. But I wanna show you guys this because this is truly mind-blowing. What we can do after the scan is we can go to the competitors right here. We can click on this button, and then it's gonna bring us to even more sellers. Because of the bulk scanner of 100 people, it's gonna find even a bigger pool. And then we can further find the specific sellers that we are looking for within this larger pool. This is crazy, isn't it? So again, you guys can see my filtering right here of showing only drop shippers, only from China, and has done less than 10,000 feedback. So I'm gonna select it all. And then look at that, 1,065 people. All I need to do is scan sellers. And then we can see that 542 sellers already been scanned. So PowerDrop will automatically put them aside and have brand new 100 people to be scanned. So I'm just gonna call it AliExpress drop shippers bulk scan. And again, I want to make sure that it's listing from China and it's sold about 3 times this month. Because there's 1,000 sellers right here, all I really need to do is select them all and then scan sellers, and then the one that already been scanned are going to be filtered out. So all I have to do is AliExpress bulk scan number 2. Sold range 3, start scan. And then again, just select it all, scan seller, and then 778 will be filtered out. Bulk scan 3. And I'm just going to repeat this process until I have maxed out to all the sellers. And then I can just go back to the bulk scanner and then move on to the next bulk scanner that I made. So out of one bulk scanner, I can find at least 5 or 6 new bulk scanners that will lead me to another 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 new bulk scanners. And the process doesn't stop. And that is pretty much the process that I go for in order to find incredibly huge amount of different drop shippers. Now, I highly encourage you guys to use those filters in order to kind of narrow down to your specific needs and what exactly you guys are looking for. Good luck, have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.